Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TriStar Gym channel. As always, give me a thumbs up. Let me know the sound is loud and clear. Guys, today we're talking about the Cory Sandhegan Umar Nurmagomedov fight. What an incredible main event fight. The bantamweight division is probably the most competitive division in the entire UFC. There were some other great fights. Chito Vera and, of course, Tony Ferguson leaving one glove into the octagon. We could talk about all that in this episode as well. However, I want to go over the Cory Sandhegan Umar Nurmagomedov fight. What an incredible fight, guys! I want to start by talking about round 5. Round 5 was the most dominant round, I think, for Umar. Even if you were going to be very generous and call it 2-2, which I'm not calling it 2-2, but let's say you interpreted the grappling, because I think a lot of people might have misinterpreted the grappling. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But let's just say we were super generous. And Cory Sandhagen's corner was not. You can hear that they were like, hey, you got to do everything now. You got to throw the kitchen sink at him. They literally told him, you got to throw the kitchen. You're losing. You're behind. And I think they're correct. The judges had him behind. That was some good advice. You got to go do it. You got to make it ugly. You got to make it dirty. You got to go for the kill, basically. They sounded like they were behind. They were behind the judges' scorecard. And let's say we were going to be really generous and say they got it wrong. The grappling exchanges, which we're going to talk about later, were actually in the favor of Sandhagen. And let's just say we were super generous. The best we can do is give a 2-2. The best we can. And I'm not saying it was 2-2. I'm not saying it was 2-2. I'm saying it was 4-1. But let's say we were crazy generous. Umar would still win. Why? Round 5, he actually got Sandhagen down on the ground. He actually was the more offensive. He won round 5. Now look, there was a very interesting round 1. Okay, and I'm just going to talk about the grappling. Yes, Umar got the fight to the ground, but Sandhagen rolled in a way where he actually got the benefit. He had the better position. At the horn, I should say, Sandhagen had scrambled to the better position. How do you judge that? What do? I shoot, I take you down, but then you roll and you kind of get in this more dominant position. I'm not saying it was the most dominant position. I'm just saying it was actually in the better position. If you ask me, hey, which position would you prefer if you were fighting? I want Sandhagen's position. He got on top. He was in like what we call kind of a reverse ashi. He rolled beautifully. He escaped. He countered. If you shoot and take me down and I roll and I get into a superior position and the horn rings, who got the better of that exchange? Now, of course, there was striking involved, but I'm talking about specifically just a grappling exchange. It might seem to a layman that, hey, I took you down, you rolled, and we're kind of like in this weird position on the ground, but I took you down, so therefore I'm the one who scored. I don't know how privy the judges are to grappling. I think there should be, they should have some experience in jiu-jitsu because Sandhagen ended in the dominant position. However, does that mean he won the round? No, because the striking was very close, even though I had Umar leading by very little. He initiated the takedown. That was nullified by a nice scramble. Very hard to call first round, but I think the majority of people would give it to Umar because of the striking. There were some other scrambles where Umar got the takedown and controlled Sandhagen. Now, don't forget, in round 1, he took Sandhagen's back. So if we're going to... He took Sandhagen's back for a very short period of time. Sandhagen strips the hook out. Like, I gave it to Umar. Don't get me wrong. I gave him round 1. I gave Umar round 1. I'm not trying to say Sandhagen didn't win round 1. Not at all. I'm just saying there was some interesting scrambles. And in the later rounds, Umar did get kind of like, what do we call it again? We call it like a, not exactly a, he rolled into a truck almost. He didn't have a twister, but he had like, when you're in the legs, when you're trying to do a banana split, you're trying to do all those leg entanglements, and he kind of hip heisted. And I gave him, honestly, I gave Umar 4-1. But there were some interesting exchanges on the ground. Now, here's where I think Cory really dropped the ball. Cory got taken down twice because he was kicking Umar's leg, and that was the biggest mistake, I think, in the entire fight. Umar is very good at taking people down, and he's even better if you try to kick him because you're handing him your leg. He's an incredible wrestler, and kicking his leg is actually doing him a favor. Cory Sandhegan has excellent boxing. You know, I was really excited to see how their striking is gonna play out because I thought Sandhagen would have more advantage in the striking. However, Umar more than held his own. Umar he switches, but not as much as Sandhagen, and he has a very strong right leg. His right leg seems to be very quick for the push kick, the head kick, very snappy, very powerful, very dynamic with that right leg. His boxing mechanics are actually a bit strange, unorthodox boxing mechanics. But he makes it work. He seems to be very physical. He seems to be hit hard. Excuse me. Little hiccup there. He seems to hit really, really hard. He seems to have a lot of power, even though his movement seems to be slightly less efficient than Cory Sandhagen. Sandhagen landed some of his own strikes, but still, I gave the striking advantages overall to Umar. Incredible fight. I thought the fight was going to be closer. Umar dominated more than I thought. I would have picked Umar on this, to be honest with you all. However, I was surprised that he was able to dominate so much in the striking. Or I should say, I was surprised that Cory didn't. Oh, guys. I got a crazy sunburn on my back. Oh, my God. I'm in a lot of pain. I was surprised Cory Sandhagen couldn't land a flying knee. I was surprised Cory Sandhagen didn't land more strikes like he did when he was fighting Chito. With Chito, his footwork, his angles were just super busy and they were working. It didn't work on Umar. Now, I got to rewatch the fight again because I think it was the first takedown that phased Cory. In the first 60 seconds, Umar was on his back. You guys got to watch that fight again. Think about it. You're an elite striker. You want to razzle-dazzle the guy with movement and all that. The guy takes you down in 60 seconds. He's on your back. Now, Cory got out of the back quick. However, still, like, what do you think that does to a man's mind? He's like, wow, this guy's on my back already. It's been 60 seconds. It makes you more tentative. It makes you think twice before you punch and kick. It makes you wonder, hey, should I throw a knee? Maybe this guy's going to just grab my leg and dump me on the ground. He just started getting defensive, and he wasn't firing. I didn't think he was firing like he would, like he did against Chito Vera. Guys, make sure to remember to use promo code level up 50 off. It's on the bottom of your screen. It's in the description. I just released today single leg defense. 2 weeks ago I released single leg attacks, and now you have single leg defense made easy. Guys, make sure you get single leg attacks first and then study single leg defense, because you're going to learn how to defend all those attacks. Guys, make sure you master the single leg. You cannot be a good wrestler. You cannot be a good, well-rounded grappler if you're not someone who knows a lot about single leg. And talking about single leg, the first takedown Umar Nurmagomedov did was a beautiful single leg entry. He wrapped his hands around the knee. He pulled himself in, chained it off, got on the back in 60 seconds. Guys, everybody out there in the jiu-jitsu world should be a master of single leg, both offense and defense. Single leg has to be treated like a guard. It's just another guard. You learn De La Riva guard, you learn K guard, you learn butterfly guard, you learn close guard. You got to learn single leg. Single leg is another type of guard. You have the leg between your legs. You're using your legs to assist your hands to take this guy down. It's just another guard. You got to think about it like that. And single leg defense is just another way of saying guard retention. I don't want to get anybody to get past my legs and onto my side. Guys, why do we call the guard in jiu-jitsu the guard? Well, if I have my legs between me and you, I can guard myself. If you get past my legs, now your whole body's attacking my upper body. I have no more, quote, guard. My guard is my legs. Jiu-jitsu is all about learning how to use your legs and hips. Your legs and hips are the great equalizer. If you have great understanding of how to use your legs and hips, you will have great jiu-jitsu. Okay, guys, I want to hear your thoughts on this fight. Cory Sandhegan versus Umar. I'm not going to stay on it too long because I know it's probably not the most popular fight. However, I thought it was such... for the hardcore fans, you know this was an elite fight. This could have been a title fight. Umar right now jumped from, I believe it was 9 or 10 in class in the world, and he beat the number 2 guy in the world. If I remember correctly, Cory Sandhagen's ranked 2nd in the world. What an incredible jump. You go from, I think, 10th in the world to beating the number 2 guy in the world. You're ranked 10th in the world and you beat the number 2 guy in the world. And guys, I didn't hear anybody complain that it was a robbery. I think we all agree. At minimum, Umar won 3 out of the 5 rounds. At minimum, and I think a lot of us would say it's 4 out of the 5, which is an incredible accomplishment for Umar Nurmagomedov. Incredible. All right, guys, with that, I'm going to be taking comments and questions on this fight. Hey, Coach, do you think people like Cory are too kind in nature to be elite? That's from Charles Biddle Williams. No, I don't think so. You know, he was throwing with bad intentions. I really think what screwed him up, what really turned his game plan upside down was he got taken down so early. He got his back exposed. Even though he got out of it quickly, it's like, wow, that guy shoots really fast. I wasn't ready for that. It seemed like he was a little bit shocked. And then he got taken down again, yes, but there were 2 takedowns I think he gave for free when he kicked the leg. I would have told him, don't kick the leg. It's not a good idea. And those 2 takedowns, I think, just added to the dominance of Umar. They could have been easily avoided, I think. Hey, Coach, do you think Cory could have done better if he put forward some offensive wrestling of his own? That's from DeFi. Yes, totally agree. He shot one time. I was late. I think around 5 he tried to shoot. It was too little too late. I always tell guys, like, honestly, I think if you threaten people with your takedowns and you threaten them with striking, you're kind of creating a dilemma. Like, the guy knows, hey, I can get taken down. I lose this entire round. He's got to divide his attention. He's got to be on the lookout for that takedown. Now, if you never shoot, all the guys he's got to put all his eggs in one basket. Striking. Focus on the striking. If you're fighting with Khabib, you got to be constantly worried about that takedown. So when he level changes, you're like, hey, I got to sprawl. And then all of a sudden he throws a punch. It's just a great way to divert your opponent's attention. It creates a dilemma. If they, a great example of this, a fantastic example of this, is when Makhachev was fighting Poirier. Poirier's corner was like, do this, do that. And he's like, I can't do too much. Now, I don't want to speak for Poirier, but I think what he meant by that was that if I start throwing too much, this guy's going to get in my legs and it's going to be another lost round. And this guy, he gets on top of me, he can finish. He's a great finisher. It was, in my opinion, his way of telling his coaches, I can't be too aggressive. I got to be constantly alert on the takedown. If the takedown comes too quickly and I don't react, I will find myself on my back, and that's a bad place. So I totally agree. He should have been shooting on Umar, because Umar on his back or Umar on all fours wouldn't be good for him. Sandhagen has very good jiu-jitsu. Sandhagen did not land many significant strikes, many significant shots. Not sure what's his game plan. That's from So Arca. Well, you heard his coach. His coach wanted him to throw. I think he got stunned by the takedown. It rattled him. It got him thinking defensively. He wasn't used to that type of speed. Umar is very quick in getting in the legs. Guys, watch that fight again. In the first 60 seconds, he got a takedown and he was on Cory's back. That's incredible. And by the end of the round, he shot again and they rolled. And Cory was constantly having to divert his attention from the wrestling to the striking to the wrestling. It diverts your attention, and all of a sudden you feel like you're dropping plates here. That's a brilliant MMA strategy by Umar Nurmagomedov. Excellent fight, alhamdulillah. Cory had phenomenal wrestling defense and great defensive grappling, but it opened him up to Umar striking with a better rear hand. Umar gets the TKO. That's from Rango. Rango, you said it well. Honestly, you said it really well. And you're right. If he had a powerful cross that he could throw once in a while, it could end the night. And I think Sandhagen did a great job defending the wrestling. Totally great job. But he was lacking in attacks. He had to attack. You can't win just by defending. Now, sometimes we've seen guys just strike. We call it sprawl and brawl. You strike, and you sprawl, and you just don't even attempt to take down. That's when you're outgunned in the wrestling department. It can work. However, I don't think Sandhagen was as outgunned in the wrestling as he thinks. I think he's a very competent wrestler. He should have tried single to double, single to body lock, because he's taller. So maybe body lock, single to body lock. but I don't think he should just strike. You got to get the other guy thinking about defending takedowns as well. Did Umar just not know the right way to counter the forward roll, or is it a good for, or is it that good of a technique? Seemed super effective. That's from DeFi. It is a super effective maneuver. Believe me, it's a very, very difficult thing to stop. However, Umar didn't do so bad. He got, I think, tangled up with it twice, but he handled himself well. It's chaos. When somebody rolls, it becomes chaos. And it was a beautiful roll, and I think if Cody didn't have that roll in his pocket, it would have been overly dominant, because I think he would have got fatigued more, because he ended up on top of Umar, and you saw Umar kind of struggling, but the horn blew. So imagine, that sequence happened a minute or two earlier. It could have really fatigued Umar, because it's not easy to be on the bottom with a guy holding your legs. He's holding your legs and you're on the bottom, and it's a hard position to be in. You got to work hard. You can't allow that position to develop, because you can be in a lot of trouble. So I think that roll was well executed. It's not an easy thing to stop. Honestly, those kind of rolls are just not easy to stop. Could you beat Tony Ferguson right now in an MMA fight? That's from Jonathan Codes. Well, Jonathan, I do want to talk about Tony Ferguson, but right now I just want to finish up with Cory Sandhegan and Umar Nurmagomedov. Can O'Malley's footwork keep him off the ground? It's only a matter of time. I think he trains his ground game a lot, but we never really see him get bullied like that. That's from that boy band. Well, I think Umar could take O'Malley down. We saw Peter Yan take O'Malley down. O'Malley took down Peter Yan as well. O'Malley has his wrestling credentials as well. He can also shoot and take people down. I just feel that Umar is a level above. It's definitely going to be Sean O'Malley striking versus Umar's striking and wrestling. If he shoots in Umar's legs, it's very possible he takes him down, but he could also find himself in a lot of trouble. I'm not exactly sure how he would level change, because O'Malley's so tall, and of course so is Cory Sandhegan. O'Malley, he shot a beautiful double leg on Peter Yan, but I would recommend, excuse me, sorry, indigestion here. I would recommend he goes single to body lock, single leg to body lock. It's just for the taller man, it's easier to do that than to shoot for a double. Nothing wrong with shooting a double once in a while, but it's a lot more efficient to go single to body lock when you're the taller man. Significantly taller, in my opinion, single to body lock. Okay, guys, excuse me. I got to put one of the morons away. Put user in timeout. I'm going to put him in user timeout for 24 hours. Okay. So we meet again, Zahabi. I invite you to live in the... What? Mr. One Adam, you can ask that question later. Right now we're talking about fighting, and I'd be happy to answer that question. Okay, you're obviously unschooled in history, but let's do that later. Okay, right now we're talking about the fights. Okay. God bless you, Coach. Do you notice how barrel-chested Umar compared to Sandhagen? Do you think that's due to training at a young age? And do you think it improves cardio, having lungs that big? That's from Mr. Cunningham. Actually, I didn't notice anything weird there. I'll watch the fight again, actually, because I have a second look, but I really did not. I really did not notice anything peculiar. Hey, Coach, are you aware of Khabib's family dynamic? It doesn't seem fair that he's the only Nurmagomedov who can't compete. That's from Charles Biddle. I don't think he can't compete. He doesn't want to compete, right? He's competed his entire life, and now he's retired. Perfect record. And he retired as champion, so I don't understand why you would say that he can't compete. Is there another family member I don't know about? Okay, guys, I see not everybody's crazy interested in this fight, but I'm going to end it there so we can talk about the rest of the fights. We had Tony Ferguson lost to Chiesa again. Guys, Look, Tony Ferguson is a brilliant fighter. He's an excellent martial artist. He has a killer instinct. He's done so much in UFC. Guys, I got to pull up his record. How many wins in a row? Let me look it up. Tony Ferguson. He has one of the craziest runs in UFC. One of the best, most successful runs. He's currently 25-11. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's look here. Okay. All right. Let's see here. He started his UFC career. Ultimate Fighter. He beat everybody in Ultimate Fighter. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wins in the Ultimate Fighter. 6 wins. Then he comes back and he loses against Michael Johnson. I remember he broke his arm. I was there that night. I believe, got kicked in the arm. Lost to Michael Johnson. Okay, so that was a 6-fight win streak cut by Michael Johnson. And now here we go. Okay, so he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 wins in a row in UFC after that. He loses 1 fight. Then he goes on a crazy, unbelievable tear of 12 wins in the UFC. Unbelievable. Then he loses. Let's count his losses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with Chiesa. That's 8 losses in a row. Guys, is this possible? Could a guy so talented, so dangerous, lose 8 fights in a row? What has happened? Somebody make sense of this for me. You go on a 12-fight win streak. Unbelievable. And then you lose 8 fights in a row. Somebody somehow make sense. Go ahead. I'm waiting. Guys, nobody, please do not put any super chats. I want to hear how we can explain this dynamic. Shame he never got the title shot. Well, he won an interim title, so I would say that's the equivalent. His injury, he lost his speed. That's from Detroit Viper. Look, it could be, the guy was in a lot of wars. It could be injuries. You're right. Maybe he has like a nose that's bothering him. Maybe his jaw was broken once too many times and he kept it secret. Maybe he has too many concussions. It's possible. The guy's been through so many massive battles. 12 massive wins in a row. Before that, he had 6 fights in Ultimate Fighter and the 1 fight with Michael Johnson. I believe that was the final, if I remember correctly. I'm not remembering correctly if that was the final or not. But that's a lot of fights, man. That's a lot of fights. That's a lot of battle wounds. One word, Gaethje. Calvin Gregory thinks it's Gaethje that's, ended or ruined Ferguson's career. I mean, look, Gaethje did stop him, but he didn't knock him out. He didn't put him in a coma. He didn't get him shaking on the ground, seizuring on the ground with a KO. It was a referee stoppage. Yeah, it was a bad one. I mean, he was getting hit. I don't think it was a bad stoppage. It was a one-way fight. I don't think it was Gaethje's. The guy was, he was coherent after the fight. I mean, I don't think it was the Gaethje fight. Head trauma. James Lee says it's head trauma. That's very possible, guys. It's very, very possible. Listen to Khabib explaining Tony video fall off after Justin fight. That's from Arif Talks. I'll look it up. I'm interested. Khabib's a very wise man, honestly. He's a very, very wise and experienced man. I will listen to his comments. UFC did him dirty. Well, I don't know how they did, but I have honestly no idea. But I'm just talking about his performance now. How could a guy win 12 fights in a row, man, in the most difficult league in the world, the most elite league in the world? That's an incredible achievement. There are UFC champions who have never won 12 fights in a row. That's an incredible achievement. Coach, please fight Tony Ferguson so that he can get his first W back. That's from Rainbow. Okay, man, if they send me a contract, who knows? If the money's right, I'll do it. No problem. I can't guarantee he gets a win, though. I'll tell you. It might be more difficult than you think. He was different after his mental breakdown. That's from Aso Vino. I did hear a little bit about his mental breakdown, supposedly, or whatnot. Does that make him... It could. I believe it. It could have a major effect on his ability to fight. It can actually have a major effect. I don't think I don't think it's enough. It doesn't explain such a fall. It's mental, coach. Once the man is gone in the head, the body follows. That's from Lenny. It's just like, I don't know. It's like saying my car doesn't work. It's like, man, you don't drive it with the love you used to. It's like, dude, no, my carburetor must be, I don't know. I don't know anything about cars, but the carburetor or something, maybe the wheel that fell off might be a problem. Like, I don't know. I don't like those kind of explanations. They're too woo for me. Okay. Now I'm not saying it can't be possible. I just think we have to look at first the mechanical issues. At first, man, look at the fighter. Is he slower than before? Is he going to the wrong positions? Is he making fundamental errors? I would tell you, look, rewatch the fight to Michael Chiesa. When I saw them fighting, I was like, honestly, I thought Tony lost his posterior chain. I think he did too much endurance. Look at his body, okay? Look at it. You'll notice that he has no more glutes. Like his glutes have shrunk. And I'm not trying to be cute here. I'm being honest. When you do too much endurance, when you do endurance over endurance over endurance, and I'm not in the practice room with him, but I saw his videos online, and it seems like endurance. Guys, you lose maximal strength. Strength goes down. Measure your squat, okay? Then do 6 months of long distance running. And measure your squat again. Guess what? Your squat went down. You constantly have to be checking your maximal strength, building your maximal strength, and building your endurance, okay? We want to be strong, we want to be explosive, and we want to have endurance. We don't just want to have endurance, okay? He was overpowered by Michael Chiesa. You could see Michael Chiesa was far more physically robust and capable. Guys, I will tell you something. I saw his training videos. It's all induced pain. How much pain can you take? Let's run on this treadmill till you throw up. Okay, let's lift these weights 50,000 times over our head. Okay, your arms are burning. Great, let's do more reps. Pain. Look how much pain we can take. Look how much pain. Pain equals progress. Wrong. Pain does not equal progress. I hope you guys are listening very carefully. Pain sometimes is part of progress. Yes, totally agree. Guys, plenty of pain in the practice room. I'm not going to deny it. However, when the whole focus becomes pain equals progress, that's completely backwards, wrong, idiotic. Okay, completely idiotic. Now, I'm not saying anybody's out there is idiotic. I'm just saying it can't be just pain. Let's go in the practice room. Let's figure out how much pain we can get into our body. Wrong. We have an objective. Guys, dial a phone number and the phone number is not right. You have the wrong phone number. What do? Do you beat yourself over the head with the phone? Do you smash the phone in little pieces? Or do you figure out what's the correct number? Sometimes it takes the right number. Okay, you have to use your logic, your reason. It has to make sense. We have to solve the problem. We have to get experts that understand the situation, what's going on. Sometimes going in the practice room and running till you puke doesn't do any good. And I would say the vast majority of the time. We have to have a goal, a purpose. What are we trying to ameliorate? How are we trying to get better? It's test, measure, retest. Listen carefully. It's test, measure, retest. Okay? You got to test. What am I? Okay, I'm boxing. Okay, I heard he did 120 rounds of sparring. He hadn't sparred in many years, and that could be great because when we watch him spar, we see what's going wrong. We see. Okay, then we measure. Okay, look. Okay, we tested his ability. He's getting taken down a lot. Let's say he's getting taken down a lot. Okay, how much did he get taken? Oh, he got taken down by this guy like 7 times in 4 rounds. That's really bad. He got taken down 7 times in 4. That's really, really bad. Okay, so we tested him. We measured. Now, 3 weeks later, okay, we're making him do lots of wrestling drills. We retest again. Oh, he got taken down once in 4 rounds now. Okay, we're on the right track. We're doing better on the takedown defense. What else happened? Well, you know what? He was getting caught with a lot of uppercuts. Okay, let's get him drilled, countering to the uppercuts. Let's figure out why. Maybe his stance is off. We're making him drill. Now, okay, what happened this week in sparring? Oh, he didn't get touched with 1 uppercut. Okay, great. So it worked. Okay. Now, let's say he's still getting hit with uppercuts. We got to try a different solution. It worked, but that solution works for some guys. It might not be working for Tony. We have to figure out why. We look at his distance control. We look at his position. We look at what is this guy doing? Why is he getting caught with the uppercut? That's how you approach training camp, in my opinion. Sparring is important because when we see you spar, when coaches are watching a guy spar, we all kind of figure out what can make this guy better. Because now we're putting him in the water. Now he's swimming. Is he going to sink? Is he going to swim? Is he going to drown? How fast is he going? What can make this ship go faster? And then the whole week is just preparing for the next sparring to improve that sparring. That's why sparring, I think, is so important. Because we are testing and then we measure, okay, how many times did we get a takedown? We got 2 takedowns in 5 rounds. That's not enough. We need 7 takedowns in 5 rounds. Okay, so let's start doing our drills. Let's start working towards that goal. We have a goal now. We want to reach 7 takedowns in 5 rounds. We measure, guys. We measure in practice. We look at what happened in practice. Okay, was the guy getting leg kicked and he could barely walk at the end of practice? Well, that's really bad. How many leg kicks did he eat this week? 30% less. Okay, that's good. That's good. We're on the right track. Let's try to keep the improvement going. Okay, guys, I don't know what happened in the chat room. It skipped on me. A whole bunch of it like just vanished and came back. I got Shiz, my boy Shiz, one of the best fight cards. Look out for my Umar baby. UFC has another rising Dagestani/Russian fighter. Transition from Taekwondo to MMA. Excuse me. Transition from Taekwondo to MMA and has beautiful kicks. Incredible speed. Sugar, want to find out if you're faster? ? That's from Shiz. Guys, Shiz, I didn't know he's coming from a Taekwondo background. That explains why his leg is so powerful. His lead leg is very, very powerful. I didn't know he was a Taekwondo practitioner. So that's amazing. He put a wrestling and Taekwondo together. That's quite exceptional. Excuse me, guys. I got a bit of a stuffed nose. Dave Haywood says, hey, coach, just given my purple belt at Freestyle MMA, Volk, but don't feel technically up to the standard you talk about for purple belt. What should I do? So you got promoted from a belt for a Freestyle MMA, Volk. Guys, I just ran into Volk, actually, in Manchester. Very nice guy. Sweet, sweet guy. Look, who did you get the belt from? If you got it from a legitimate black belt, and you feel like you don't deserve it, I would tell you, I would talk to my coach. I would ask him, hey, can I have a few minutes with you? I'm not sure if I deserve this belt. I'd just be totally honest with my coach. Now, your coach might take it as a total disrespect because he's going to be like, hey, you think you know better than me? So what I would do, personally, I would go out of town to a good club. Let's say, I don't know where you are, but let's say you go to a good club and you roll with other purple belts and you'll see. Then you can come back to your trainer and say, hey, coach, can I have a talk with you? Yeah. Listen, I went to this academy. I was out of town and I trained with these purple belts and I was getting crushed by them. Let's say it's the case, okay? Then you'd have a good reason to go to your trainer, because I don't recommend you guys just go to your trainer and say, hey, coach, I don't think you know what you're talking about. I'm not a purple belt. You'd have to have a good reason, okay? So now I wouldn't go to a neighboring school because instructors don't like that. If you go down the block and you wrestle with some purple belts and you tell him you got your ass kicked, he's not going to like that, okay? Go out of town. Go somewhere like, not to his competitors, go somewhere else and train, or go do a tournament and sign up for purple belt and just tell him, look, I don't feel like I'm ready for purple belt. But you got to have a good reason. But maybe you go out of town and you go to a good academy and you're up to par with the purple belts and you realize you're the one who's wrong. I would just tell you that if you have a reputable coach, I wouldn't go and tell him without having a good reason, a physical reason why. Okay, because who knows, you might have wrongly assessed yourself as well. That's also a possibility. Okay, here, what else we got here? Salam, coach. I'm a 38-year-old BJJ black belt and I just did my first ever amateur boxing fight. Would you please watch it and tell me what I need to work on? It's only 6 minutes. All right, I don't mind watching a fight. Did you have a link? Put a link in the description. Put a link in the description so I can see it. I'll try to pull it up here, guys. We'll do a little analysis on his boxing. Is scarf hold Kazakatami good for BJJ without back exposed or getting swept? That's from Frankie Green 15. Guys, I like headlocks, okay? So he's basically asking me if it's a headlock. Today I have one wrestler in the gym. He does a lot of headlocks, okay? He throws people on the ground and he's not easy. I believe me. He's thrown me with that headlock and I consider tapping. Like, he has so much strength. I'll be honest with you, I haven't tapped to a headlock in over 10 years. More than 10 years. By the way, guys, I have a very good video on headlock escapes. Because jiu-jitsu guys don't know how to defend headlock anymore. We forgot about it because nobody ever does headlocks. But then a wrestler walks in, especially the Greco guys, and they put us in headlocks. You have to know your headlock escapes. I have a video I did for kids because kids always headlock themselves. It's me and my 2 sons. But all those techniques in the video work for adults. Okay, so all of them work for adults. check out my headlocks video. You have to know how to escape headlocks. You have to. It's a must. If you don't know how to escape headlocks, a wrestler will tap you. Now, I like to use the headlock. I do. But I don't use it on elite jiu-jitsu guys. When I'm doing MMA and the guy's a kickboxer or the guy's like a more of a like, you know, like a top game guy, he's not really a back guy. I don't think the guy could sub me from the back, or I don't think he's a back wizard. Then I'll use the headlock, but I use it selectively. Because when this wrestler, I tell you, is in a practice room, he throws me in a headlock, I usually get on his back and it's not good for him. However, it's not easy to do because he's so physically strong and he kind of crushes your diaphragm. As we're hitting the ground, I'm already starting to escape. If I don't escape immediately, it's very painful to be on the bottom. So it's really about having good escapes. It's not enough to know the escapes. You have to be good at the escapes. Now, I'll tell you guys something. When I first started jiu-jitsu, they made us do so much headlock escapes. Why? Because headlocks 20 years plus ago was very popular. Guys who were doing jiu-jitsu, who didn't know anything about grappling, they just saw a little bit of UFC and they started a grappling academy. They would do a lot of headlocks. We'd go to tournaments and everybody was trying headlocks. So the my jiu-jitsu instructor, Angela Xaracos, Henzo Gracie Academy, they used to teach a lot of headlock escapes, which now you don't see anymore. Why? Because nobody does headlock. Why? Because all the headlockers got weeded out. Coach, it doesn't let me copy a link on my super chats for some reason. It's on my channel. Okay, so how do I I don't know how to see your video now. I remember somebody sent me a video not long ago, and how do we I don't remember how he sent it to me. I actually have no idea how you can send it to me. Maybe you just give me the title. Post it on YouTube and give me the title of the video. I'll look it up. Coach, all your breakdowns are superb. That's from Charles Biddle Williams. Well, Charles, you're a gentleman and a scholar. I thank you for that comment. Click on his profile. Okay, I'll click on his profile. Channel activity. Go to channel. Okay. Can I go to his channel? All right, I'm going to his channel. Look at this. I didn't know about this. Look at this. This is incredible. Mark Antonio Gaming. Okay. Is your boxing fight? Debut the Bucks. Debut the Bucks. Okay, I got it, man. I got it. Hold on a second. Oh, no, it's a short. Dude, you got to post it on your channel. You got to post it on your channel. Mark Antonio, you got to post it on your channel. I could find your link. Send it via email. If I put my email up here, I'm going to get 1,001 emails tomorrow. I can't post my email, guys. Come on. Ahmed Hamad, glad to have you catch me live. Coach, do you think judo and point fighting karate is a good base for MMA? Question mark. Just a channel. Just a channel, I agree. I think it's good. If you have a very good karate and judo, it can be a very interesting mix. However, I would also ask you to add boxing. Add boxing to your karate. Okay? That's what I would say. Is it possible for a prodigy improvising MMA fights to wins? Similar to music... I'm sorry, I don't understand. Are you saying, is it possible to have a prodigy in MMA? Prodigy? Yes, totally, if that's your question. What do you think about Trump recently saying Khabib is his favorite fighter? That's from Heba. Really? Did he say that? That's incredible. Wow. That's cool. Because, you know, I thought he would pick like a USA flag-bearing Kobe Covington type character. But, wow, that's amazing that he's favoring Khabib. Very surprising. What's your opinion on the release of Mokaev from the UFC? What's your opinion on the release of Mokaev? That's from Osama. I was quite surprised. You know, he has 7 or 8 wins in UFC in a row. I was very, very surprised that they cut him. I heard about that they were going to cut him before, no matter what, whether he wins or loses, because he got into a fight in the hotel. I was there at the hotel when I wasn't there when the fight happened, but I came out of the elevator. People were talking to me about it, and I was like, "Oh, really? He got into a fight?" Yeah, and there was I don't know both sides of the story, but I heard there was a sucker punch. I heard there was like chaos. You know, I was like, wow, that's interesting. I mean, I talked about it on the last podcast. I couldn't believe that when they got in the ring, they were trying to fight each other before the announcement. Like, guys, you're literally gonna get paid for it. Just wait a second. Like, if you guys hit each other before the announcement, that's assault, man. They're gonna arrest you. They're gonna kick you out of the fight. Is canceled. Imagine Mokaev or his opponent Dante. I'm forgetting his name though. Imagine you run across and you punch your opponent in the mouth. You hurt his jaw or something. The fight's over. You're going to jail. Like, it's insane to me. And they had to have the security break them up. And it was like, and then I was in the back room, we're warming up. And I was like, watch this. The fight's going to start. And it's going to be like, they're not going to land the glove. Like, it's just going to be circling for 5 minutes, And sure enough, the fight starts and nobody's throwing anything. And it's very tentative. And I'm like, oh, I just knew it. I just knew it. Like, there's all this aggression. And the second finally you can fight. Finally. Yes, you can. Okay, here you go. You want to fight? Go ahead. All of a sudden, they're circling, pawing. I was like, what happened, man? What happened to all this reckless energy? And, of course, they don't want to walk into a bad shot. Obviously, fighting is not about running across the octagon. And it's a different context, but it's just crazy to see, that, like, when I do a sneak attack, there's somebody between me and you. I can kind of run around that person and kind of hit you. Like, just, I don't know. It was just chaotic. Now, was it professional? No, highly unprofessional. And I'm surprised, though, still UFC cut him. I thought that maybe they would give him a second chance, but it looked like Dana White was like, no. PFL, they said, PFL is going to get a new undefeated fighter. I mean, you got to be professional. I think fighting in the hotel is it's such the worst thing you could do. Fighting before the fight is announced, even, like, it's just crazy, insane. So, I mean, the company, I respect them. I think they have a legitimate reason. I can't fault UFC for cutting him because that's just, like, unacceptable. But then again, I don't know the ins and outs of what happened in that hotel lobby. I don't know. But the octagon, there's no excuse. You're sitting there, you wait for your name to be announced, and then you fight. You don't start running across the octagon trying to find the guy. I just find there's really no real excuse. Shout out to Sharaputin Magomedsharipov. Were you impressed by his movement? He is next level when he's striking, especially with his kicks. I noticed Poatan is a great striker, but not slick like my boy Sharaputin. Fight with one eye. That's from Shiz. I didn't watch that fight yet. I saw very little of it. I saw just a part where he cuts him with the elbow from the bottom. I want to go watch that fight later. I haven't watched all the fights. However, I'm a big fan, so I want to definitely watch it. Hey, Coach, if you were training GSP against Belal, what things would you focus on against Belal? That's from The Man. The Man, that's a good question. I think for Belal, we wouldn't back up to the fence like Leon did. I think that was a major, major error. And I would want George in a very low stance, like matching the height of Belal. I don't think you want Belal underneath you. If Belal gets underneath you, he's going to make you work. You're going to have to work hard to avoid those takedowns. So I would do a lot of like positional training, lots of positional training. Where are you in the octagon and how are you standing in front of Belal? And of course, we do other things, but I don't want to get too, but definitely would not back up like Leon did and would not be in the same upward stance as Leon was. Hey guys, I don't know. I got maybe some young kids in the chat room. I got to put them in a timeout like little kids. All right. Another guy in timeout. Hey, Coach, any tips on learning wrestling for BJJ as an adult in a country that doesn't have strong wrestling culture? Australia. That's from Buckshot Barber. Go to jujiclub.com. Put in level up 50 off. It's on the bottom of your screen and it's in the description. Get Wrestling Made Easy. Guys, Wrestling Made Easy. I have a few volumes now, okay? Look up on BJJ Fanatics. I have like all 5-star reviews. Everybody loves that video. Everybody who gets the Wrestling Made Easy video absolutely loves it. I'm telling you, I broke it down to make it real simple and drills that are so simple you can't get it wrong. And I show you what makes the takedown work, what keys you need for the guy to fall over. And it's quite simple. It's simplified. I have single leg, of course, offense and defense, and I have underhook and I have whizzer. Excellent wrestling videos. Check out my basics, my advanced basics series, the Made Easy series, and that's really what it is. I'm trying to make something complex super simple. The elite best wrestling maneuvers. Of course, there are more. There's going to be more volumes coming out, but really the best, most used wrestling maneuvers and simplifying them and giving you like the most important elements of the move. Making it simple. It's super effective. Simple equals effectiveness. Is Islam avoiding fighting for the welterweight title now that Muhammad has won the belt? That's from Damon Ford. I would say totally, 100%. 100%. He won't fight Belal. So I think he's openly said it. So I don't think they would ever fight each other. Guys, don't forget, I'm always doing super chats and non-super chats. Okay, so if you non-super chatters, you guys can fire away as well. You would tell GSP to pull guard. That's from Willie E. Coyote. Yeah, it's not plan. Let's call that Plan B. Mozzarella or cheddar? That's from 7-6. I would go mozzarella. Coach, my arms get heavy while sparring. How do I deal with that? That's from Insomnia. Actually, I have a really good dumbbell routine. I do. It's really, really good for that. But it's kind of hard for me to demonstrate. But basically, take a few, like, take 2 5-pound dumbbells or 2 10-pound dumbbells. And I like them that heavy. And I do like a series of shoulder exercises. It's just incredible. It's really, really a game changer. I can't demonstrate it here now, but try to do a 25-minute dumbbell exercise so you can take a little breaks and just spend like 20-30 minutes on your shoulders. Very important stuff. Coach, your thoughts on Islam versus Shafkat? Shafkat is way too big. That's from Damien. Shafkat is way, way too big in my opinion for Islam. Coach, how would you realistically coach a 23-year-old guy who runs and lifts regularly with no martial arts background to become the next GSP? That's from S16. Guys, that's not going to be an easy, that's a tall order, okay? To be the next GSP, you're going to have to put in a lifetime of work. I can't just whip up a GSP with a guy who's a weekend warrior. It doesn't work that way. Armin versus Islam prediction. That's from Jet. I pick Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev is the harder hitter. He's the better grappler. He's the better finisher. He has that championship experience now. I would pick Makhachev. Coach, are Kettle Bells some of the best exercises for explosiveness and BJJ? Question mark. That's from Damon Ford. I have a series called Strong and Stable Kettlebell. I'm a big kettlebell user. I think it's great. However, I don't believe in just using one tool. I like Airdyne. I like row machine. I like kettlebell. I like body weight training. I like row machine. I like rope climbing. I like sprinting. I like it all. I like every type of conditioning. I think it's all good because ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to stimulate the bodies to adapt, right? So if you're doing jiu-jitsu and wrestling and boxing, if you do these other exercises, you'll become a better athlete, and that will over time translate to your sport. Okay, so if your back is getting stronger, your shoulders are getting stronger over time, that those new muscle fibers, that new strength you've developed will translate into your martial arts skills. Salam Coach, how do you develop and build elite mentality in one's life? Additionally, develop discipline. That's from Cam. Mentality. That's such a big topic. You know, I've talked about it so many times, but I would tell you, look, it all starts with discipline. Like, you have to have a great routine. I've talked about this many times in the past, but I believe like you have to get organized. You got to find out what's your goal, what's the steps I need to take to my goal, and then here comes the mental part because you've planned it out. That's easy. Let's say, I don't know, you want to become a doctor, you want to be a BJJ black belt, you want to be, I don't know, an architect, whatever. Okay, what do I got to do? Well, here's the first thing, the second thing, the third thing I need to do. Then the rest is mental. First, you have to have a roadmap. You have to have a goal. Then you draw the roadmap, and then that's when the mental part kicks in. Are you gonna get out of bed early to go to class? Are you gonna, skip your movie night because you're gonna study? Are you gonna go to practice twice a day? Like, are you gonna do it? That's the hard part. Then it becomes the struggle. Do I get up and do it, or do I sit here and cut corners? And here's what I tell my students that cut corners. I tell them this all the time. I tell them it's harder to cut corners. You think cutting corners is saving you pain and suffering? Wrong. Listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. Corner cutters suffer the most in life. It's easier to be a real black belt than to be an average black belt. It's easier to be an elite black belt. It's easier. Because when you're not an elite black belt, you got to suffer the life of a guy who gets tapped by lower belts. You got to be the guy who, just doesn't get it. You gotta have all this mental anguish. So I always tell my students, I always tell my sons, it's better to suffer now than later, because the suffering later is always worse. Are you listening to me? Sometimes I see my students cut corners, man, and I could be really mean in practice. I'm telling you. The corner cutters, I tell, no, you can't do that. You got to do it exactly like this. You can't cut these corners. You got to do it right. Sometimes you guys would be like, oh, coach, you're being mean to the guy. No, I'm not being too mean. First of all, I know the guy very well. I won't talk like that to just anybody. And he's cutting corners, and he doesn't realize it, but he's going to make himself suffer in the future. Sometimes I kick them in the pants a little bit, and believe me, they thank me for it later. It's so much easier. Life is so much easier. Hold on a second, boys. I'm getting an emergency alert. Amber alert. Amber alert. Some children were abducted by their mother. James Jr., 6 years old. Princesse Sandhagen. Guillaume Youssef, 4 years old, and were abducted in Montreal by their mother. Ismiland. Oh, it disappeared. Guys, if anybody has any information, please call the police. Like I was saying, it is worse to cut corners. You're suffering more in the future. Don't be a corner cutter. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care if you want to be a doctor. I don't care if you want to be a BJJ black belt. I don't care if you want to be a button pusher, professional button pusher. Be an elite button pusher. Life is so much easier. Cutting corners means you're going to have to suffer in the future. You're saving a little bit of pain now to suffer a lot in the future, guys. Never be a corner cutter. It's all about doing it right. And then you can cruise. Ali said it best. He's like, I suffer in training so I can live the rest of my life as a champion. Because once you didn't suffer yesterday, and then today you got to deal with being unsuccessful. You got to deal with it. You can't go back in the past and undo it. Now you got to think, oh, can I be successful in a long time from now? But I could have been there by now. It's like investing. I tell young guys, look, you're young. Invest. Take 20%. Take 10% of your income. Invest. Like, I've made a lot of money in my life, but I know guys who made less money than me and they're richer today. You know why? They invested. Now I have to feel the pain. I was a corner cutter when it came to business. I admit it. I admit it. When I was growing up, I was so fascinated with MMA, fighting. I was so, I couldn't think of anything else. Of course, I went to school. I had my academic life, and that was also a huge obsession. But then when people talk to me about business, yeah, I'll be interested, but I wasn't all in. I wish I was a black belt investor. I wish. I realize now the error of my ways. So now when I teach my kids, I teach them everything about how to take care of their finances. I realize, hey, you know what? As a businessman, I should be a black belt by now. I should be a black belt. There's no reason why I shouldn't be a black belt investor. But guess what? Now I'm in my 40s. I'm 44. Imagine I was investing like I am today, back in the day. Now, I got to tell you guys, I made some good investments when I was younger. And yes, I didn't do so bad, but I know guys who did 50 times better, 100 times better. And I could have done just as much as them. I just wasn't paying attention. I was a corner cutter. I remember my brother telling me to buy Ethereum when it was pre-launch. And I was like, I'll look into it later. I was so lazy, man. I was so lazy. I was just so hyper-focused on my career. But lo and behold, I got in way later. But if I was paying more attention, if I was doing what my brother was doing, I could be like Jeff Bezos money, and that could be I'm in politics right now. I'm moving massive pieces here. I'm putting guys in behind desks. Where you got national reach. But I was a corner cutter, and today I suffer. But don't be a corner cutter in everything, guys. You got to take something seriously. Coach, what's your take for someone who wants to work out only with jump rope? That's from Giri Ryan. I don't think jump rope is so great. Okay, now it has its benefits. It's good for calves, but it's not real cardio because it doesn't activate enough muscles. Okay, now I'm taking this from Kenneth. Kenneth, I'm forgetting his last name right now. He wrote the book Cardio Code. Okay, great coach. I worked with him for one fight, and we talked a lot about what cardio is, how he defines it, etc. And look, it has to be cyclical. It has to stimulate the largest muscle groups in your body. And he says jump rope doesn't do that. Now I've jump rope. I can't get my heart to maximum heart rate. Now a lot of you guys are gonna tell me, no, coach, if you can do it if you do these jumps. I agree. If you're an expert rope jumper, you can get super elevated heart rates. It's not easy to do. It takes a long time to develop those skills to jump rope like a Ali. It's tough. It's hard to learn, and there are other ways to elevate your cardio. Now, if you love jumping rope, do it. If you like jumping rope better than aerodyne and running, I mean, then it's your thing. But for me personally, I don't like it as much, and I think there are better ways to stimulate the cardio. Where do you rank yourself among the top coaches? That's from Khadar. I don't like to do that. I never like talk about myself. Coach, I put my fight on your going live post. I don't even know what a going live post is. Go to channel. Going live. Did you post it? Did you post your video? Videos. No, I still don't see your fight. Coach, who do you think wins the wrestling exchange? Omar or Merab? Merab outclassed Cejudo. That's from Damian Ford. That's a tough one to call, guys. I don't know. Merab is such a beast, man. I don't know. I have no idea. Honestly. That's a tough one. Good question. Very good question. I have no idea. Marco Antonio Gaming. Why don't you just put the title of your video? Like make it like an odd title and I'll punch it in. Super simple. Okay, guys, I did have a Street Beefs video I wanted to watch. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch it with you guys. Yep. This is my life has become. Watching Street Beef videos with people online. Okay, guys, here we are. We have Dolo versus 717 Static. This is going to be exciting. One second. Let me minimize these windows. Again, guys, let's watch this fight. Okay, here we go. Oh, no, hold on. Oh, damn it. We're about 10 seconds away from me push and play. Okay, here we go. Let's watch Street Beef. Dolo versus 717 Static. Why did it pause? Okay, here we go. Guys, I have not seen this video. Okay, the white guy has his chin so high in the air. It is insane. Oh, shit. Okay, I gotta say, the white guy has good eyes. He moves out of the way nice and quick, but man, is this chin in the air. He has a money bag. It's a tattoo of a money bag. And then he has the word blessed on his chest. Oh my God, that's hilarious. Think about it. The guy has a bag of money tattooed on his chest. Is it over? I don't know. There's still street beefing. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, hold on. I missed a bit. Here we go. Street beef. Now, it's not fair. One guy's wearing shoes and the other guy is not. That's not good. And I think it's just boxing right now. Oh my God, this is crazy. Oof. Okay, that was horrible. That was a horrible, horrible, horrible fight. That guy's chin's in the air so bad, it's really ridiculous. Okay, guys, we got Marco Antonio here. He's got his fight. Full fight for Coach for us. AMA 167 title. LOL. That's a brilliant title. See? Now you're thinking. Now the head is not just a hat rack now. You're using it for thinking. I like that. All right, let's see. Full fight for Coach Zahabi. Oh, you put for us. Okay. AMA 167. Ask me anything 167. And yes, let's see. Okay, here we go. Boom. You see? You see? Not just a hat rack, my friend. Not just a hat rack. All right, let me do a little fancy button push. Oh, look at this. Look at this. I got it on screen. There we go. That's Mark Castro. Our boy is on the right. This is his first boxing fight. Let's see how he does. All right, this ain't exactly street beef, but we'll give it a look. Okay, I don't know which man you are. Are you the red corner or blue corner? Tell me, are you the red or the blue? I'm assuming you're the blue guy. Because I have a feeling the blue guy is going to win shortly. Okay, you're the blue. Now, the red guy has his helmet on completely wrong. Like the helmet is completely blinding him. Oh, you're getting a little tired here, Manco. You're getting a little sloppy here. You gotta stay disciplined. I think you're getting a little tired of hitting him, it seems. All right, as this fight continues, I'll give you my initial thoughts, okay? One, like, you have, obviously better boxing than the guy you're fighting, but I really feel like you're exposing yourself. Your chin is a bit too high. I don't like my opponents to be lower than me. So you can see your opponent's kind of here, and you're hovering above him. I don't like that. I feel like the guy who's lower can really do some damage. You have to lower, and you have to get as short as your opponent. You don't want to be above him. You don't want to be with your head up higher than his, because if he lands a shot, he's going to have more stability than you are, and he can knock you down. Now, the guy you're fighting is not very skilled, so he's not able to really find your chin, but you're punching from a place of height, which is not good, and your chin is up as well. If you go to higher levels of boxing, you can get really chin checked really badly. You can end up on the mat quite quickly. I would also say I feel like, you need to do more conditioning. Your conditioning doesn't seem perfect. Now, the guy you're fighting is not the best athlete either. So I would tell you guys, you got to do a lot of road work, a lot of sprinting, a lot of strongest stable running type style running, and adjust your position. Your position is completely off. Your head is up way too high. Your chin is up. Your jab is lazy. When you throw your jab, you're kind of dropping it. There's a lot of mistakes here. But again, you're early in your career here. You're early in your training. I would tell you that as the fight goes, you're getting sloppier and sloppier. So that's got to be addressed. You can't get sloppier in a fight. You got to get stronger and stronger in a fight. So I think they're going to stop it here. I assume. Oh, let's see. Is there more? Okay, we're almost at the end. Now, also, your opponent's helmet is on completely wrong. Like, he's completely blinded here. It makes no sense. Okay, here we go. Let's see your defense. Okay, actually, I want to see your defense here. That's another thing I haven't addressed. I find you too wobbly on your legs, okay? So you really got to sit. In a man's guide to throwing a punch, I talk about combat jumping jacks. How to learn how to sit. Go in from a standing position to a seated position. Standing position, seated position. Make sure you learn the combat jumping jacks. Because when you're trading, you're not sitting on your punches. You're completely you look like you're pushing a shopping cart. Okay, now, I'm giving you the medicine you need here. Don't get offended. But your level change is completely off. Like, you could have put this guy away a long time ago. You're exposing yourself defensively. You're wasting a lot of energy. I mean, there's a lot of power bleeding here because you're not sitting on your punches. And that's why you should really get a man's guide to throwing a punch. Like, it will help you with your fundamentals immensely. Like, your opponent's doing a good job of putting his hands up, but he has no coordination. All right, guys, I think that's pretty much it. Our boy Menko here wins. I think it's another standing 8 count, and they're going to call it. I think he's saying no. He's done. Anyways. Okay, guys, that was fun. But this is like a very, very beginner level of boxing, of course. So I know you have plenty of room to grow. If you love the sport of boxing, I'm sure you had a lot of fun. But you gotta take it to the next level. That's really like the most elementary level of boxing. Okay, guys, what time is it now? We're at 1 hour and 10 minutes. It is midnight now. Here where I am. So I'm going to wrap it up shortly. Give me something fun to end up on. Check out King of the Streets. Oh, boy. What are we doing here? Oh, boy. King of the Streets. Oh, no. Look at this. Goodness gracious. Okay, guys, I'm seeing this for the first time, so I'm curious. This is King of the Streets. Khalis versus Panther. Oh, this is bare knuckle. Oh my god, these guys are insane. Panzer. Don't tell me they're gonna fight bare knuckle. Khalis, street fighter, Czech Republic, 27 years old. Oh boy, this is crazy. I really, the referee's masked. Oh my goodness, are you serious? Oh, is it boxing on cement? Are you crazy? Oh my god, these guys are insane. Oh, kicks are involved. Wrestling on cement. Oh my god, this is insanity, guys. Is that a Nazi tattoo? Holy moly. Oh my god, these guys are insane. Hold on a second, I gotta pause this. Is that a Nazi tattoo? Oh no, it's an X. I thought it was a swastika, for goodness sake, man. What am I watching here? This is animals. It's over. Fighting on cement, guys. That's insane. Guys, stay in school, for goodness sake. Stay in school, please. I'm begging you. Stay in school, man. What is this? What nonsense. That's ridiculous. They're all masked. MMA on cement, guys. Bare knuckle MMA on cement. This is insane. Guys, this is insane. This is ridiculous. All right. I'm gonna cut this before I get like a penalty or something. Wow, really ridiculous, guys. Please don't do if your life takes you to do MMA on YouTube on cement, bare knuckle. You took a wrong turn somewhere, guys. Please go back to school, do something. Like this is like the worst place to be. You're taking the maximum risk with no reward. It's absolutely insane. Coach, when can I whip you in a street fight? Question mark. Got some Detroit Viper. Maybe in your dreams, Mr. Viper. Take a sleeping pill and dream about it. Hey, Coach, what do you think is the best fundamental for MMA? Heavy striking, Adesanya, Pereira, Max Valentina, or heavy wrestling, DC, Khabibs, Cejudo? That's from Jonathan. Jonathan, I think both are possible. You know, you got to find what's best for you. Like, are you more naturally a wrestler, more naturally a grappler? They're both doable, so both of them can lead you to be champions. So I don't think it's really one or the other. Thoughts on the Turkish Olympics, especially the Turkish guy. I've heard so much about this Turkish guy. I haven't even looked at it yet. Actually, let me look at him right now. I've seen like so many like thumbnails about this guy. Let's see, Turkish shooter. He's like this badass, right? He like doesn't use the equipment and stuff. Okay, I gotta see this. Hold on a second. Oh, no. Hold on a second, gentlemen. Hold on a second. It's like a badass guy who's like... I love this kind of stuff, you know? A guy who doesn't do it like all the equipment old school. All right, let's see this. See how the guy on the left of your screen, he has like the earmuffs, special glasses and stuff. The Turkish guy's got like regular reading glasses and no earmuffs. Ah, it's not that loud, the gun. Turkish guy hit a bullseye. Is this a sport? Come on, look at that guy. He's got a... Oh, my God. Also, they're competing women and men together. That's cute. But I mean, like, you could be a fat slob and be an Olympic gold medalist. It's insane. Oh my God, this is crazy. Come on, make them run or something. Make them sweat. The size of the target they're shooting at is the size of a nickel. Oh, that's amazing. Look, I'm not saying they're not highly skilled, but this ain't a sport. It's highly... I mean, they're highly skilled, yes, but... Is this a sport? I like this Turkish guy because he's like a badass. He's got his hand in his pocket and he's like, I'll just point this gun here. Another bullseye. I think he won like second place or something. Guys, I'm telling you something. Sometimes all this special equipment, it's all like, you know, when you go to like a bowling alley and like the guy's got the glove, you know, he's holding, he's got to be bowling every day. This guy has the glove, you know, he has the glove and the wrist guard. And then you look at his score and it's like below average, like he sucks. It's like, why does he have the glove for? You know, like I thought, you know, the glove is for like when you're bowling, you're almost going pro or something. I mean, I enjoy this to see the display of skill. You know, I've done some shooting. I know it's not easy. I understand it's a skill. I understand there's people out there, they could shoot you from 300 yards away, and you know it's a skill. It's not just like pointing like a movie. You know, no. It's a hardcore skill. I just don't know if it should be in the Olympics. You know, like I don't know. For me, I get it. It's a tough skill, but would I watch it personally? Not too much. Coach, how do you become a better person and a better in character in the world that is entirely transactional? Also, why don't you coach? But Seneca says he who suffers before necessary suffers more than necessary. Well, I'm not familiar with that term, and I don't think you worded it right, so I'm not sure exactly what you mean, my friend. Salam, Coach. Thoughts on the madness in the UK? That's from Tame Al-Hassani. I've heard about the riots in the UK, and I've heard Tommy Robinson, the biggest fool, I think, in Europe, the biggest bigot, the biggest clown. I hope for Tommy, he's never in my vicinity. What's his name? Is it Tommy Robinson? Hold on, let me look him up. What's that boy's name again? Tommy what? Tommy, is it Robinson? Robinson. Yes. Tommy Robinson. I don't want to mix him up with somebody else, another Tommy. This guy, he unfortunately somebody went mad and stabbed a few people. Okay, now it was like 10 or 12 people. 3 young girls died, unfortunately. A tragic event. Tragic. A horror story. Okay. Now, from what I understand, Tommy Robinson, as always, gets on the, on social media, starts blasting these immigrants coming in and killing people. Oh, we got to get them all. I heard him say, he named basically every Muslim country he can think of, and we got to get them on a boat and get them out of here. This is our country. And it's like, what? We don't even know who the guy is. Okay, then it comes out it's not an immigrant. It's not somebody who's here illegally. And I'm not for illegal immigration or anything. I think you should immigrate to countries legally. Okay, so I'm not pro illegal immigration. Not at all. I think you should come in legally. Okay, now I do sympathize with people who immigrate illegally sometimes, and they have a good reason, okay, whatnot. They're very desperate. I sympathize. However, I don't think you should ever do anything illegal. So illegal immigration has to be dealt with. I get that. There's people doing the paperwork. There's people getting in line, and there's people doing it right, and they're being vetted. Of course, you have to vet people before they come in your country and all that. And I'm 100% on board. Like there's no resistance from me. But Mr. Robinson went online, started blasting all immigrants, and it turns out the guy's a 17-year-old born in the UK. He's born in the UK. Obviously, the guy has a mental illness. He comes from a Christian background. From what I heard, he goes to church all the time. Like there was a headline, a church goer and all that. Guys, it's not because he's a churchgoer. It's not because if he was atheist. It's not because if he was black or if he was white or if he was Chinese or if he was whatever. The guy obviously has a mental illness. He obviously has a mental illness. But Tommy Robinson, how does he make his money? He makes his money by appealing to fear, making people scared. Oh, the brown people are here. The black people are here. They're going to take everything you have. They're going to choke you. They're going to hurt you. They're going to molest you. They're going to... And he went on social media, and I understand that there was like a riot. They started burning down mosques. They started everything Muslim. They started burning it down, breaking it down, threatening everybody. Like, he's just hating on the Arabs, the Muslim world. I got to tell you, I'm really sick of it. Like, I'm really sick of it. Really, really sick of it. Like, I'm telling you, like, it's getting to the point where it's becoming really annoying. And it's unfortunate. A lot of people fall for it. He's a moron. And unfortunately, Andrew Tate even, like, was like, oh, we got to stop illegal immigration. Guys, the guy's not even an illegal immigrant. He's not even an illegal immigrant. Calm down. Put the sword down. Put the weapons down. Relax. It's an internal problem. It's a UK problem. The kid's born in this country. He's a Christian. He's not a foreigner. He's not a guy with a, secret agenda or whatnot. Now, a word for Andrew Tate. Okay, I doubt he'd ever hear this, but I'll tell you something. Siding with a guy like Tommy Robinson, you should be very careful. Why? He's a massive Islamophobe. He's written books, absurd books, which I don't think he read it. I don't think he wrote it. I think he paid some guy to read it, just write the most vile stuff, and it's like the most ridiculous, unacceptable. Like, I dare anybody to cite Tommy Robinson to a scholar, and the scholar's going to laugh. He's gonna be like, who's Tommy Robinson? Where did he learn about Islam or religion or history? And the answer is zero. He's never learned anything. He's a complete ignoramus. He's a complete ignoramus. Like, we're talking about like rock level of intelligence, like a stone. Pick up a stone, and that's the level of intelligence we're talking here. He's no historian. He's no scholar. He doesn't know anything. All he does is just fearmonger. He's an absolute clown of a human being. However, people sympathize with him. Why? Because, he's very good at social media, and, he's been caught faking things. Like, he punched a migrant, and then the cameraman came out and said, oh, it was completely backwards. He hit the guy first, and then he talked to him, and we played the part where he talked to him and then hit. The cameraman outed him. He's like, he set it all up to make it look like the migrant was threatening him, and he wasn't. And he just clocked the guy in the street. Complete idiot. He's been convicted for defamation. He's been convicted for, I believe, drugs as well or whatnot. The guy's been in and out of jail. In Canada, when he came here, they kicked him out. If I recall, they arrested him, kicked him out. Like, he's a complete... And for terrorism, by the way. For terrorism. He's a complete and utter buffoon. I've heard his interviews. He's a complete and utter buffoon. He's not a historian. He's unschooled in Islam. He's a complete joke. He's a complete joke. Please, somebody, I dare anybody to try to cite him as a source to a scholar. Right? Go to university. Cite Tommy Robinson as your source. I can't wait to see how the professor's like, who's this guy? This guy moron? Doesn't know anything. Now, he's entitled to his opinion. That's his business. However, if he did that with blacks, or if he did that with Jews, or if he did that with like any other persecuted minority in the past, everybody would be like, hey, that's not right, man. We've done that before. We understood it's wrong. And there's going to be a time where people are going to be like, hey, don't talk about Muslims like that. We've done that in the past. We understand now it's wrong. But do we have to repeat history over and over again? Do we have to be that ignorant? Like, do we know so little? Do we understand so little about what happened in the past? Fear-mongering, appeal to fear. It's a logical fallacy. It's complete nonsense. Now, I'm not saying there's not problems. Guys, there are problems. But why do people immigrate to Western countries? Well, you have to go learn about colonialism. There's a reason why people get up and leave their countries. There's a reason. They didn't just get up and leave because they're bad people. The French, the English, they colonized the world. Many people colonize the world. And every time they get colonized, it causes mass migration. Other things cause mass migration, of course, such as war, famine, etc. But when nations come in and steal your resources, people get up and move. They go where the resources are. Don't ever forget that. People always go looking for a better life. They're starving in one part of the world. They want to go live in another where there's abundance. Everybody always, in history, that's always happened. Why is there abundance in one place in the world and not the other? That's a story. That's the whole history. When you read history, that's what we're talking about all the time. Man's struggle for resources. There was a time where Europe was poor. There's a time where Europe is rich, and the cycle continues. Whenever a place is rich, people migrate there. Whenever a place is poor, people leave. Now, we living in the first world, we should be very careful when we criticize migrants, because if you were in their shoes, you would do the same thing. If we didn't steal their resources, if we didn't bomb them, if we didn't torture them, they wouldn't need to leave their countries, would they? How do you work with Arnold knowing he's constantly breaking his hand? Guys, I don't talk about fighters that I train because I find it unprofessional. Okay, so all due respect, I'm going to have to avoid certain questions. Tommy does it with blacks, bro. What are you talking about, sir? That's some dedicated one. Yeah, I know he does knock on African migrants. You're right. I correct. I think that is a correction. You're correct. And I find it despicable. I find it disgusting and despicable that he does that. Absolutely despicable. Coach, my son is 4. Every time we play a board game or soccer, he is a very bad loser and throws a tantrum. How do I help him overcome this? That's from True Red Crime. I will tell you this, okay? Mimic him. You lose and you throw a tantrum. Mimic him. I would mirror him. But I would make fun of him. Like, however he did it, I would just act like him. So I would beat him. I'd see how he, let's say he rolls on the floor and kind of beats his chest, and like, I would let him beat me, and then I would do the same thing as him, and then you kind of find it ridiculous, and maybe we would both laugh, and it's kind of like, hey, sometimes I win, sometimes you, and I would just keep doing it. I beat him next, and see if he does the tantrum. Then I would lose, and it was just like, I would make him see the ridiculousness of this. Like, why are you spending all that energy blowing a tantrum? Just figure out the game. And look, I think it would make it funny and make him smile to see himself how ridiculous he looks. Because don't forget, when you're that young, obviously he's going to mature out of it, but when you're that young, you're not self-aware. So I'd beat him once, see his tantrum. I'd let him beat me. I'd mimic the same exact tantrum. I would do the same words he does. I would say the same things, act the same way. And then I would go back and forth. Every time he throws a tantrum, I'm just going to copy him. And I think eventually he'd feel a sense of embarrassment. It's like, oh, that's what you're doing what I was doing. And then maybe after a while you lose, and you lose gracefully, and you tell him good game, and you smile at him, and he realizes, hey, that's the better way to lose. Coach, your thoughts on Merab O'Malley, who wins? That's from Overlap 618. I got to do a full breakdown on that. Guys, that's a tough one. Oh, I got to do a full breakdown. I can't just do it like this. I got to go over their footage. Coach, how does one develop themselves to reach the pinnacle of their profession? That's from Bafo. That's a deep question. I would tell you, look, there's so much to that question, but I would tell you, make distinctions. This is just one of the most important elements. Notice what the people in your field do that are successful, and notice what the people who are in your field who are less successful, and make distinctions. Split hairs. Try to find out what separates the two. And at every level, the major things, the smallest things, be really good. That's what I tell my kids. When they do martial arts, I'm always telling them, can you make a distinction between the way that guy threw a punch and that other guy threw a punch? Can you make a distinction? Or is it to you, it's all the same? And I tell them, the more advanced your eye is, the more developed you are, the more you can make a distinction between two seemingly similar things. By seeing them thousands of times and looking really closely and looking for distinctions, you will start to notice them. But you have to believe that they're there, and then you have to look to find them. Okay, guys, I'm about to wrap this up. Let's end this on a fun question. Something simple and fun. Guys, don't forget to use promo code LEVELUP50 off. It's in the description. It's on the bottom of your screen. Go to jujiclub.com and get absolutely anything 50% off. Jiu-jitsu, striking, fitness, how to take care of your back, how to take care of your knees, how to take care of your neck, strong and stable shoulders, strong and stable running, a must-have. Strong and stable kettlebell, also a must-have. Can we get a free Palestine before you leave, bro? 36 Mafia, inshallah. Free Palestine, my brothers. The apartheid state. I hope one day to see in my lifetime Jews and Muslims and Palestinians living together in peace like they did in the past. This beef is very new. Yes, they're an oppressed people. Yes, they're living in the biggest open-air prison. And yes, they don't control their own state. They don't have self-determination. That needs to change. But I'm also very much for living together like we've done in the past. Under Muslim control, we've done it in the past. Now, if it's Jewish control, the Jews need to show that they can also live in harmony with their brothers. They can also. I find it embarrassing that two religious groups forget the 10 Commandments, the basics. Thou shalt not murder. Thou shalt not steal. You know, when you look at the 10 Commandments, it's not thou shall establish a state and for a certain people. It's not in there. It's not in there. When it comes to the big, most important laws, the prioritized laws, what's the 10 most important laws? It's all good stuff. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. And we forget that. And we go against it every day. Why? Because we're trying to connect dots. We're taking what's implicit over what's explicit. If you think, well, no, I interpret the scripture as to say that we have to establish a state. Yeah, but that's not in the 10 Commandments. 10 Commandments supersede all other interpretations. That's why they're the 10 Commandments. That's why it's so simple. The author of the book is trying to tell you that, look, so you don't get it wrong, so you don't go into a wild interpretations and get things wrong. Here's 10 clear things you should never change. Oh, but I read this and I think that and my opinion is this and I have this wild theory. Throw that in the trash. It doesn't supersede the 10. The 10 are the most important. They supersede everything else. Thou shalt not steal, super important. Thou shalt not murder, super important. And they're breaking that one every day. Okay, guys, please, no more super chats. I'm about to end this quite shortly. I'm just trying to find a super chat I might have missed. All right, boys, I can't find it. Fun question: chicken wings, bone or boneless? I would go bone. I don't know why, but I like the bone. I like to chew the bone. I like to get into the cartilage and I like to eat what's inside the bone. So for me, it's a tasty treat. Do you sleep with your socks on? Question mark. No. And what's the first, milk or cereal? Cereal, man. What kind of animal? What kind of subhuman fool puts the milk first? That's ridiculous. That's insane. It has to be cereal first. There's no debate about this, guys. You would be a subhuman savage to put the milk first. This is insane. It's insane. It makes no sense to me. Cereal and then the milk, friends. Come on. Everybody knows that. That was an easy one. Okay, guys. I want to thank True Red for ending this one on a fun one. I really, really appreciate it. Guys, thank you for tuning in. I always have fun on these chats. Please like, share, comment, and make sure to use Level Up 50 off and go to jujuclub.com and upgrade your game today. Thank you guys, and I'll see you all in the next episode.